Hello, this is Debra with the Sisterhood of the Rose Planetary Network, and today I have the pleasure again of speaking with Cobra. Cobra is the chief intel provider for the resistance movement, where he offers important planetary and galactic information at his blog 2012portal.blogspot.com. Today we will be speaking about the extremely important 1221 Ascension Portal Activation taking place in August, and the critical global meditations that will assist this. We'll also talk about some current and historical topics, the event, Ascension, the goddess, healing, and so much more. So let's get started. Welcome, Cobra. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me to this interview, and hello, everybody.
Absolutely. Always great to talk to you. You've indicated that there are absolutely massive astrological configurations coming in August that will trigger the opening of the 1221 Ascension Portal, claiming that is the greatest energy shift that we have ever experienced in our lifetimes. That this marks the end of a certain cycle when cosmic evil will be erased from the multiverse forever and will open the door again for the spiritual evolution of humanity, and it will also reactivate the ascension process. Can you tell us about this certain cycle? Is it the 26,000 year cycle of darkness that is referenced so often, or is it something even greater than that?
It is something even greater than that. It is the huge cosmic cycle. The whole universe is now about to reach the maximum point of expansion and is about to contract again. And in the exact moment between the expansion and contraction, there is a moment where subquantum anomaly is being cleared, and this is exactly the moment of this portal. So we are now in the almost at the peak of this process, the peak of this cosmic change, which we have been waiting basically for millions upon millions of years.
Wow, that is powerful. You've said that this portal will open a 1221 point of grace throughout the multiverse in the multiversal subquantum field, and that it will be a huge transition that you just spoke about. Would you further explain what point of grace is?
Point of grace is a multidimensional code which is able to transform everything that exists into pure love and light.
Beautiful.
I would say it's the ultimate healing device for the whole universe.
Wow. Can you help us better understand what the subquantum realm is and how it differs from the quantum?
Subquantum realm is basically beyond space and time continuum. It is in the dimension which is smaller than the Planck length, which is the smallest possible length within space and time. So quantum length is within or inside the space-time continuum, where subquantum realm is beyond that. And subquantum realm is basically not detectable with anything that exists in this universe.
Interesting. Given that this portal will bring about major changes in this subquantum realm, what changes might we expect in our emotional and spiritual lives?
What will happen when the subquantum anomaly is gone and when the lurker is gone? The healing of the emotions will become much easier, and our spiritual connection with our soul and the higher planes will also become much easier.
Great. What about changes in our physical lives, both for us individually as well as collectively?
Again, as the lurker is removed, there will be much, much less of the so-called Murphy's Law, much less negative coincidences. There will be much more flow. Things will start to move much more smoothly. And as there will be more impact of the higher realms towards the physical plane, more of the highest purpose will begin to manifest both in our physical lives and also on a global scale.
We look forward to that. How will this point of grace allow greater communication amongst humans?
What will happen is that people will begin to have their connection with their soul again. And soul-to-soul connection is the basis of true communication.
That makes sense. What about greater communication with beings on the non-physical planes?
Also, the same story, people will have more connection with their own soul, and as such, they will be able to connect with beings on the non-physical plane much easier in their meditations and in their dreams.
Good. So, will this increase telepathic or other abilities? And if so, what types of abilities?
Those abilities will begin to develop slowly, especially for those who will make some effort, will do some exercises to awaken them.
Okay. Will you be sharing some of those exercises?
It might happen in the future.
Okay, very good. What is the best description of these energies that are coming through the portal? Is it cosmic love, source light, divine rays, light codes, all of that?
It is undescribable. It is all that you have said and much more. It is a new, completely new energy which has never been manifested since the birth of the universe, since the lurker was always present. And when this quantum anomaly is gone, we will be entering something completely new which has never existed before.
Wonderful. So, in your post in June announcing this Ascension Portal activation, you wrote the only evil remaining will be that personal evil within the energy field of the surface humanity. Does that mean that negative non physical entities will be gone and not affect anymore the surface population?
The only thing remaining will be personal evil within human beings and the surface cabal, the brotherhood of that, the so-called Illuminati. And some of those Illuminati, when they die, they will still be present for some time on the non-physical planes. But I would say the vast majority of non-physical entities at that point will be gone.
Okay, good. In reference to this, you've stated that after the portal opening, this remaining evil inside our energy fields will be to the extent humans are attached to it consciously and subconsciously, that it will be easier for us to use free will. Can you explain what free will is and how it works?
Free will is the ultimate mystery of the universe. It is the tool that each being can use to reconnect back to the source, to come back to the source. And the muscle with which we train free will is decisions. So, with decisions, we can shape our destiny. And with right decisions, we can decide to release all attachment to that inner, I would say, anomaly, which still exists, whatever attachment we still have to our past situations that are blocked in our energy fields.
Interesting. So you said that it will be important for humanity to consciously use their free will to release the past and sever these energetic links with the anomaly. How do we realize that there's still something evil in our energy field? And how can we clean or remove or transmute the personal energy in our field as quickly and comprehensively as possible?
Of course, you will feel that there is something within you that is not of the light. You will feel some darkness, some density. And as when you feel that coming to the surface, you can just use your own decision, your own will to release that. And you can also ask beings of light to assist you. You can ask the assistance of Archangel Michael to ask him to help you to release those attachments.
To what extent does this depend on each person as an individual, or is it on the energy of humanity as a whole?
It is both. It is an individual process and also a group process. So the more the whole humanity goes through the process, the easier it will be for everybody to go through the process as well.
Okay. How can we help other people to realize that they have something in their energy field that needs to be cleansed or removed or transmuted? Or is this something that they must realize themselves?
This is something they need to realize themselves when they're ready. Because if you try to explain to them before they're ready, they will resist and you will be just wasting your energy.
Yes, we all know about that, I think. In your recent WLMM interview, you said that after the portal opening, the veil will be greatly diminished, and the only aspect of the veil will be the technology that is still in the hands of the surface cabal. It sounds like the negative etheric technology will be gone, and this relates to the remaining evil within the energy field of the surface humanity. How might they still negatively affect us? I mean, what technology or resources will they still have?
They will still have hard technology. They will have directed energy weapons. They will still have some electromagnetic technology. They will have infrasound technology, whatever is in the cell phone towers, whatever they distribute to the cell phones. All that will not be gone. It will still be here. And of course, the usual pollution that we have on the surface of the planet, electromagnetic pollution from all the devices that we have, creates also one aspect of the veil.
Will these technologies remain in effect until the event, or will they begin to be reduced over time?
They will begin to be slowly and gradually reduced, and this clearing will accelerate as we come very close to the event.
Will it still be necessary to protect ourselves after this portal opening if the majority of this darkness is gone? I know you said there still would be this technology around. And if so, what might we best use to protect ourselves until the event? Will the protection protocols that we've been using still be effective? Or I'm curious which one you feel is the most effective at this time.
It will still be necessary to protect against those negative technologies and also against the negativity of surface humans. And you can use all of those technologies, those protection protocols that have been released, and you can just see for yourself which one works for you the best, because this is an individual situation.
Okay, I understand. Would you please update us on the status of the black stones that have been placed in negative military complexes? From what we understand, these black stones are still hindering the progress of the light forces toward the surface, and they are the last major elements that still maintain the planetary quarantine to a certain extent, in addition to the actions of the Cabal. Will the opening of the portal allow the light forces to be even more effective in clearing these last black stones?
All those black stones have already been removed.
Excellent. Thank you. You mentioned that the Absolute would transmit a key of the new Earth after the 1221 portal activation, and that this new key would assist the light forces in removing planetary and personal evil. We understand from your WLMM interview that this is an etheric key, not a physical one. Can you tell us more about this key?
I would not say it's an etheric key. I would say it's a multidimensional key which exists simultaneously in all dimensions at once. And this is an energy which came from the Absolute and is coming from the Absolute and will continue coming from the Absolute to transform and transmute the Earth into the new Earth, to remove all darkness and to ascend the planet into the new frequency.
Interesting. Would you explain true vacuum steady state? And after the portal opening, will the phase transition to true vacuum steady state be instantaneous, or will it take some time to complete?
The true vacuum state this transition will occur in soft quantum field, and in linear space and time, it might take a few days for this phase transition to be complete.
Okay. And what is the connection between the 1111 portal that was opened in 2012, then closed in 2022, and the 1221 Ascension portal in August?
Okay, basically 1111 portal was opened in 1992. And the purpose of that portal was to anchor very high frequency energies on the surface of the planet. It created a strong connection to very, very, very advanced spiritual planes. And it allowed the anchoring of those energies within the physical matter of this planet. And the 1221 portal has a different purpose. The 1221 portal does not have the purpose of anchoring energies. It has a purpose to liberate the planet and to trigger the ascension process for the planet, to transmute everything that exists here.
Okay. In August, we have some incredibly powerful astrological configurations taking place, as we've said. And in the past, you've said that Lightworkers all have aspects in their birth charts that have to do with the three outer planets. Does this mean specifically the three aspects of the magic triangle of this August, which are Uranus sextile Neptune, Neptune sextile Pluto, and Uranus trine Pluto? Or does this include other aspects that involve the outer three?
I would say the vast majority of people who were incarnated in the last half century or so have Neptune sextile Pluto in their birth chart. And this aspect makes them more open to spiritual growth. And light workers have this aspect more directly activated.
Okay. Good. How will the astrological configurations on August 21st trigger the energetic process of the new renaissance for the whole solar system and thus accelerate the implementation of Operation Dreamland on the surface of the planet in the coming months and years?
Okay, when the portal opens on August 21st, this will send a huge shockwave of very intense light throughout the whole solar system, and this energy will begin to filter down towards the surface of the planet. And in the next few years, we have a strong resonance of Neptune sextile Pluto, and that energy will keep flowing throughout the solar system and towards the surface of the planet, and will begin to inspire those on the surface who are ready to bring forth the new renaissance.
Very good. What kinds of activities are expected of light workers and light warriors after August 21st?
Some of the activities, everybody who feels guided to continue whatever they're doing now, they can continue. Some people will receive new guidance, and there will be some new situations introduced after the opening of the portal.
Okay. How will the opening of the 1221 Ascension Portal bring us even closer to apocatastasis, which is the moment when all quantum and subquantum anomaly will be cleared and all evil consciousness either transformed into the light or annihilated in the central sun?
This opening will actually complete the key of the new heaven and activate the key of the new earth. It will be the final removal of cosmic evil and the beginning of the clearing of the planetary and personal evil. And when this personal and planetary evil is gone, planet will ascend, and it will be the end of the evil for this universe forever and for all universes forever. It will be the end of the process. So it is the turning point of the whole process.
Excellent. Now let's discuss the very important upcoming mass meditations that will be taking place August 12th, 18th, and 21st that will assist in finalizing the optimum ascension timeline for the planet. But first, would you share what each of the powerful astrological configurations are coming in August, as well as what each one of them will do for humanity, our planet, and our solar system?
Okay, first on August 12th, we will have three very powerful aspects, one after the other, a few hours, one after the other. The first one will be Neptune sextile Sedna. This aspect will bring very, very high frequency spiritual energies of the next cosmic cycle. So it will be like the first taste of what is about to come. And then a few hours later, I would say 1.5 hours later, it will be Saturn sextile Uranus. This is a very encouraging aspect which brings stable progress. So this energy will stabilize those energies. And then 2 hours later, there will be a triple Venus-Jupiter Sirius conjunction. This conjunction is, I would say this is the luckiest astrological configuration that I'm aware of that exists. It is the most joyful, most happy, most positive, effortless, easy astrological aspect. And if you will be awake on the morning of the August 12th, you will be able to see Venus and Jupiter and Sirius gather together just before the sunrise. It will be a beautiful sight. And then we have August 18th, and then we will have a conjunction between Neptune and Uranus-Pluto midpoint. This aspect has happened a few times and will happen again later, but this time it will be the most powerful one. This will be the aspect which will trigger the process of the new renaissance for the planet. And then on August 21st, we will have the same aspect, but for the whole solar system, heliocentric aspect. The same aspect will bring those energies for the whole solar system, and this will finally trigger, I would say, the ascension process for the whole solar system, because there are many motherships inside the solar system that will transmit those energies throughout the solar system, and they will actually trigger the ascension process for this planet. Because in those few days, there will be a huge grand trine between M87 galaxy, between Pluto and a gathering of three astrological points, which is Uranus, Sedna, and Alcyone. This will be a huge flow of energy, which will start in the Virgo galaxy cluster, in M87 galaxy. It will travel throughout the galaxy, of course, through the Pleiades, and then through the whole outer solar system. So it will be a huge current of light, which will spiral through the universe, and then it will anchor on the surface of this planet and trigger the ascension process. So the days between August 18th and 21st will be extremely intense, and that energy will be anchored at that point. And then there will be a few days of integration of all that, and then we have more aspects coming towards the end of August. I might speak more about it at some later point.
Wow, I think we're beginning to understand how truly important this is that is taking place this August. Wow, thank you for explaining.
I would say that we have never experienced such strong astrological configurations in this lifetime. This is definitely the strongest one.
It sure sounds like it. Thank you for explaining all of that. How will these three meditations contribute to each of these occurrences and also to the impact and success of this portal activation?
The thing is that the energy difference between before the portal activation and after is so huge, we need to do it in steps. We need to do 3 quantum leaps, so that therefore we will have 3 meditations. In each of those meditations, it is very desired to reach the critical mass, because then we have the optimal flow of energies going through the surface of the planet, and we will have the maximum yield, we will have the maximum efficiency of the energies, huge cosmic energies that will be able to be distributed through the surface humanity. And of course, this brings the best and optimal timeline for the future.
So it sounds like each meditation builds upon each other.
Yes.
And yes, I know you said it was a quantum leap toward the opening of this ascension portal. I have to ask, what would be the consequences if we do not reach critical mass for one or more meditations?
The portal will still open, but the energy transmission through the surface of the planet, and especially through the surface humanity, will not be optimal. This will be less efficient and less harmonious. But the portal will be open nevertheless, because it's a cosmic occurrence. Nothing in this universe can stop this.
Okay. Well, of course, we're going to encourage everyone to participate in all 3 meditations, as well as share and encourage others to participate, because we definitely would like to reach that critical mass. Would you advise doing a booster meditation to stimulate more participants for each of these meditations?
Yes, we will do a booster meditation. For some time zones, it will be July 28th. For some time zones, it will be July 29th. The instructions will already be published when you read or listen to this interview. The instructions will already be on the blog.
Very good. Very good. And what about using Command 1221 to ask for assistance to bring more participants? Would this help?
Yes.
Okay. We will use that. In your recent Paris workshop, you stated that 1221 is the interstellar code for divine intervention, and that we can expect the light forces to actively intervene in the situation on Earth during the opening of this portal in August. It doesn't seem like a coincidence. There is also a Command 1221 portal that you've given us to seek support and assistance from the galactic team. What is the connection between Command 1221 protocol and the 1221 Ascension portal?
It relates to the same code, which is 1221, which is the code for divine grace and divine intervention. And I do not see any valid reason why the light forces should not begin physical intervention very soon after the portal is open, because enough darkness will be cleared. It will be just the surface humanity and the surface cabal. So the plans for that intervention can start immediately. How long it will take until it's implemented, I don't know, but there is no valid reason why the light forces should not start intervening very shortly after the portal is open.
I may be asking you this later in another question, but since you mentioned it right now, could you explain what that physical intervention might look like?
Even if I could, I would not, because it's classified.
Absolutely. That makes sense. That makes sense. What about invoking Command 1221 during the Ascension Portal activation? Will that magnify the impact?
You can do so before the meditation and after the meditation, but during the meditation itself, the instructions are already everywhere.
Yes. And speaking of the instructions, would you explain why we visualize a wave of white, pink, blue, and golden light and love? What are the properties of each of these colors and what effects do they have?
Those few colors cover the most key combinations of various rays which need to be anchored. Um, as you know, we have each color has a certain frequency. Um, White color connected with the first ray, pink color with the second ray, blue color with the third ray, and the golden light is a combination of 4 to 7 rays, and combination of all those can create resonances in all the 12 rays that exist. So those 4 colors, combination of those can create every possible frequency of light and love that we need for this activation.
Well, it's an absolutely beautiful visualization, I know. So I think we will all be real happy to visualize those beautiful colors. You mentioned in your blog post that the current timeline is not going in the best direction and that these meditations are our chance to collectively shift the timeline back into the optimal timeline for planetary liberation. But wasn't there an update saying the positive timeline was guaranteed and no more negative timelines remain? Is the positive timeline for planetary liberation still secure?
Okay, the basic timeline is secure, of course, but there are variations to the theme. I mean, of course, we are not getting the most possible positive situation, and there are various ways to get from here to the final liberation. Some of them are less chaotic, some of them are more chaotic, and we're trying to shift this transformation in the best possible way, best possible way to reach the optimal timeline. So the current timeline that we are now in is not yet the optimal timeline. The basic timeline has been secured, therefore be liberated, but how we get there is open to there is still some freedom of choice involved.
Okay, understood. So let's move on and chat about some galactic and global situations. What is the significance of the Sirius Gateway that opened on July 7th?
This Sirius gateway opened a very subtle but very effective and beautiful energy coming from the Sirius star system. After the Archon invasion in 1996, most of the energy coming from the Sirius star system was blocked. Sirius was still transmitting positive energies, but most of this was blocked. And this energy has finally, after almost 3 decades, managed to reach the surface of the planet. And the energy of the Sirius star system is the energy of 1221. It is the energy of divine grace. What is also very significant that the Absolute has already transmitted one part of the New Earth P on July 7th, which was absolutely not expected, but it happened already. So this was a surprising development, which was very positive and was not expected.
Excellent. A question about the Dragon Wind that was activated last year in Asia and later in the Americas. Can you explain more about what it is and its significance? And might this take place in other continents? And also curious if it's related to some of the dragon-shaped clouds that people are seeing.
The Dragon Wind, which was activated, allows the free flow of etheric energy to the ley lines planetary wide. So it's not just limited to Asia and the Americas, it's flowing everywhere. So the planetary energy grid is basically ready to be activated for the planetary ascension process. And those dragon-shaped clouds are physical manifestations of etheric dragons, which are directing the flow of energies through those ley lines.
That's cool. In your recent End of Darkness update, you mentioned that the Galactic Central Race, in cooperation with the Galactic Confederation, have begun to activate ancient lighthouses that have been dormant. Would you please tell us more about these? Are these physical lighthouses or energetic ones?
These are physical. This is a physical advanced technology which was created throughout the galaxy by the Galactic Central Race hundreds of millions of years ago, and it was time coded for this end time. It was coded to be activated when certain frequency is reached, and this began to happen throughout the galaxy. And those lighthouses actually emit very strong light, both on physical and non-physical planes throughout the galaxy, and are preparing the galaxy for the shift.
That's also very cool. You've stated that the second half of 2025 will become more interesting. Now that we are in that time period, what do you think may happen that will make this second half more interesting? Does it involve more disclosure or what?
The first thing, of course, is the opening of this portal. And when the portal is open, it will reshuffle everything. It will set the new timeline. How exactly this will evolve, I don't know. But finally, I don't see any reason why things should not begin to happen, which were not happening before.
Okay. Are there any updates to what we might expect regarding the current financial or future financial situation? And how might we prepare for what's ahead? Will things become challenging, or will the energies of the portal opening make it a more smooth and easy transition?
The current financial system is quite unstable, and the energies of the portal might destabilize it even more. The huge cosmic shift will affect the financial system for sure, and there might be drastic changes in the financial system coming in the second part of this year.
Okay. Is there anything that we can do in preparation?
All the instruction for preparation was given years ago, basically more than a decade ago.
Yes, of course. Okay. So that stays the same. You spoke of a new plan by the light forces involving civilians. Is this still the case? And if so, will this be physical or astral? Can you explain a little bit more without compromising the information?
It will definitely be physical, but I cannot divulge more at this point.
Okay, thank you. And what is the status of the elder barons here in human bodies? What progress have they been able to make?
They are making a lot of progress. Again, this is classified, and I would say that part of operation goes according to the plan.
Very good. What is the real reason for the focus on Israel right now? Can you explain its role with dark and light energies, including its spiritual and historical significance? It can be rather confusing to discern what's really going on with Israel.
Okay, that region is quite active since the times of Atlantis. It was the main implantation and programming center in the time of Atlantis. And in the later part of Atlantis, it was one of the main anchors for the Dark Lodge, the Dark Lords of Atlantis, coming from Orion. And all those people are still incarnated here in physical bodies. And a purification of Israel is coming now towards the end of the planetary liberation process. It's the time of the end game scenario.
Interesting. Thank you. Is Iran facing alone the combined dark military of the U.S. and Israel? What is true about bombing Iran's nuclear sites? Did it really happen?
It did happen, but Iran removed the uranium long before the bombing happened, so there was no significant damage done. And this situation looked far more dramatic than it really was. It was diffused quite efficiently.
Okay, thank you. Um, can you tell us what really happened in Syria with the political shift and the new people in power? And also, what is the condition of the goddess vortex there?
This is very unfortunate. It was a so-called color revolution, which did not really help people in Syria, and the conditions of the goddess vortex there are not really great. It is not completely destroyed. There are some signs of healing for the vortex, but it's not in a very good condition.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, we will continue to send some beautiful pink light over there in that area of the world. Did you once say that when a certain situation occurs in Turkey, we will be close to the event? And if so, would this be significant, like a significant and obvious situation?
This was intel coming from some of the dragon groups, and it might not be correct anymore because situations have changed. It might happen, but it's not a prerequisite. It's not a condition. It's not necessary for this to happen.
Okay, thank you. And will you update us on Saint Germain's role in leading planetary liberation?
Saint Germain is becoming more and more active. He has activated some of the Templar groups last year, especially in November and December. And he is again reactivating Templars and white nobility and some other occult, secret positive occult groups, which are assisting in the planetary liberation. And his role will become much, much more active and much more visible as time goes by.
Very good. Yes, we'll be talking about more about the Templars shortly. So speaking of planetary liberation, let's discuss a topic very much on everyone's mind, and that is the event. In your recent announcement of the 1221 Ascension Portal opening, you said that with the subquantum anomaly out of the way, it will become much easier for the light forces to deal with the planetary situation, and the event can finally become possible in a few years, months, or even weeks after this portal opens. Well, as you know, many people were upset hearing that it could still be another few years. What might we do, or what needs to happen to potentially manifest the earlier time frame?
I might be able to answer this question more precisely when more of the plan is known. So first, the portal needs to open, and when the dust settles, we will know where we stand, and then I can answer this question more precisely.
Okay, well, we look forward to that information when you're able to share that. How will the opening of the portal affect the awakening of light workers, and how will the awakening of humanity be affected overall? And I also would like to ask, is there a certain percentage of the surface population's awakening that is required for the event to take place?
Okay, the portal opening will make the awakening of any of the surface population easier, and there are no requirements of any kind of awakening for the event. The event does not depend on the state of consciousness of world surface humanity anymore. The plan does not require that at this point.
Okay, thank you. How does the inner work and inner cleansing that people do affect the overall process of planetary liberation? And will the light forces help us more with this after the portal is opened?
Of course, all healing and all cleansing helps, and the life forces will be able to help more after the portal is open.
Okay, good. Will the event occur after personal evil within the energy field of the surface humanity has been purified, or will it still occur even if personal evil within the energy field of humanity still remains?
Again, the event does not depend on the extent of personal evil or personal wrong being clear. This is not a factor in timing of the event.
Okay. So, as you know, many light workers are exhausted from years of facing challenges, especially health for many of them. Yet they do want to be strong when the event happens so that they can best fulfill their role. You've said before that medbed healing would only be available after the event, but could the portal opening accelerate not just emotional healing, but also physical healing? And if so, will the light forces assist with this? How can light workers help make this possible for themselves?
Yes, even physical healing will be easier because the physical aspect of some quantum anomaly will be gone. So it will be also easier to heal the physical part.
Excellent, excellent. How soon after the event will medbeds be available to us? And will it be different for every person? And what determines who gets priority?
It is a matter of organizing the distribution chains, and those who are in critical medical conditions will, of course, have priority. And the distribution will begin immediately after the event.
Okay, very good. You see people in the awakening community talking about that it's necessary for someone to have a certain level of evolutionary consciousness to be able to use a med bed. Is this true?
No, no.
Yes, it doesn't sound like it is true. Okay, thank you. Um, when we are close to the event, you've said that like light workers will know it's close and there will be signs. So, in addition to an acceleration of intel and disclosure, can you give us a clue of what other signs we might look for?
It can come from any direction. It will be basically what you just said, an acceleration. Things will start to accelerate quite frantically, and things will begin to spin apparently out of control. It will seem like everybody's getting absolutely crazy, and it will be a very intense time. But then suddenly breakthroughs will begin to happen, which will be very fast, getting bigger and bigger, and then you will know the time is close.
Okay, good. Thank you. You've also indicated that the light forces are afraid of contacting us. Is this because of the darkness within our energy fields, and will this resolve after the portal opening, especially as the darkness dissipates?
I would say they are less afraid than were, but they still feel that the light workers sometimes exhibit irrational and crazy behavior, which they don't understand. And of course, after the portal opens, this will diminish, but still the trust needs to be built from both sides. And after the contact is made, those issues will be resolved.
Okay, good. Yes, I know. Sometimes I don't think we understand some of these behaviors that people have. So that's good to hear. Can you update us on the plan that some may be physically contacted before the event when it's safe? And who would those people be? Like, what would qualify a person to be contacted?
Yes, there is a plan that some people might or will be contacted before the event. And of course, this will be the most advanced and most balanced and most sane people. And yes, of course, this is possible in 2025.
Okay, very, very good. I was going to ask you that, so that's good to know. So with greater numbers of people, or what I was going to ask is, will greater numbers of people be contacted either by the light forces or the resistance movement before the event with instructions on what their role would be at the time of the event?
It will be just a very small group of people. It will not be massive.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. A while ago, we signed a petition asking positive extraterrestrials to get involved on this planet much more. What is the status of that, and what impact does the divine intervention meditation have every full moon that we do?
The fact that we have reached the critical mass for that petition creates legally a statement which is legally binding for the light forces. They have to intervene because we have stated our collective free will, but they have to do it in a way that is safe for the surface of humanity. I know that many people have been disappointed because the intervention did not happen after we have signed the petition. But what has happened is actually light forces have began to contact certain people, and things went really, really wrong. For one example, they have contacted some people in the Russian military, hoping to create a communication bridge that would slowly begin to involve the surface population. And those Russian generals, their reaction was really, really negative. So they are now searching for direct contact with the surface population in a way that would be safe. And only when it's safe, they can do that, not before.
All right, thank you for explaining that. And I just want to circle back to the impact of the monthly divine intervention meditation. Does that simply reinforce our, let's say, our will for asking for that intervention?
It reinforces our collective decision, and it maintains the energy for that decision.
Okay, thank you. So many light workers could use a boost of something tangible happening with more and more light force ships now in the sublunar space. What would help us to actually see them? Does telepathically reaching out to them help? And will sightings of true light ships be more possible after the portal opening?
Gradually, those ships will become more and more visible. And of course, telepathic connection or energetic connection with them is the first step that always helps. And they will begin to be shown more massively only when it's safe, when enough of the surface cabal is either blocked or cleared to allow something like that to happen.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Will our telepathic channels with the light forces, including the ascended masters, become more clear and pure after the portal opening? And how do you suggest we increase this communication?
Yes, they will become more clear and pure. And the number one priority is to clear and strengthen your connection with your own soul, with your own I am presence. And then after that is done, you can start training for telepathic connection.
Okay. Um, and what is your suggestion on how best to connect to that I am presence?
There are many meditations, there are many techniques. You can just follow your inner guidance. There are many books with instructions. You can follow them.
Okay, thank you. During the Ascension Portal Activation, what will happen to the planetary ascension vortexes? And do you have any suggestions for those who live near one?
Those vortexes will be greatly enhanced. They will be activated. They will be boosted. And if you live near a vortex like that, you can count yourself very lucky.
I would agree. Yes, thank you. So after the portal opens, will it be possible for individuals to ascend without waiting for a mass ascension after the event? And would it be possible to ascend in the physical body or only after death?
Theoretically, yes, after the portal opens, an individual can ascend even with the body without waiting for the mass ascension. So when the portal is open, it's open. And if you're developed enough, if you're dedicated enough, you can ascend even without waiting for anything by your own spiritual growth.
Interesting, interesting. Do people have a choice in terms of when they would like to ascend? I mean, they might be ready, but can they choose to stick around, so to speak?
Um, when they're ready for ascension, they can choose to leave their body behind and ascend without a body, or they can stay in the body for a certain period of time, stay in the body, and at that point, they can either transform the body or go through that process. It's up to them.
Okay, thank you. Um, so after the event, um, will will all people ascend in the physical bodies or some only on a soul level?
For the vast majority of people, it will be ascension with a physical body. So it will be in the ascension waves, the bodies will be transformed also.
Okay. When we do ascend in our physical bodies, will we just disappear and appear as missing? Um,
Exactly.
okay. Would we have advance notice? Like, how would our loved ones know what's happened to us? And will we be able to interact with those that don't ascend and vice versa?
At that time, when the ascension waves happen, there will be much more understanding of what's going on, and your loved ones will be aware of the process, and they will not have a big problem with that.
Okay.
And the interactions will continue in various ways. If not directly, there will be technology. There will be beings of light present on the surface of the planet that will give instructions.
Very good. How will things change for us mentally, emotionally, and physically when we ascend?
I would say it's a complete transformation. It releases all attachments, it releases all negativity, it releases all pain. So physical pain does not exist for you anymore. Emotional pain does not exist anymore. Doubts, fears, all this is gone. You will have complete clarity. You have absolute non-interrupted connection with your own presence, and you will be in a state of bliss all the time.
Beautiful, beautiful. So due to the planetary situation, the ascension plan has changed several times, but as we understand it, it is again for the three waves of ascension to take place. Is it still in the plan that we will have a choice of what we want to do after ascending, like either go home to our star system or return to Earth in a physical body and assist those who haven't yet ascended? Can you bring a little more clarity to this, please?
Yes, the basic plan is still the same. You will be able to go to your home star system and stay there, or you will be able to return to the surface of the planet in the physical body and assist those who are preparing for the next wave.
Are both an option? Like, could someone go to their home star system and then go to Earth and then go back? Like, just how now we travel from country to country. Is this something that we could do after being ascended?
Yes, of course, you will have a complete freedom of movement in your life, but you will be able to travel from one star system to another without a problem. So you will be able to be here and go home and come back and do whatever your plan is, whatever your mission is, whatever your purpose is.
Wow. What very interesting times ahead. From your perspective, what is most important for us to understand about ascension?
What is the most important to understand that ascension is real? It's a real process. It's not a fantasy. It's not just a concept. It's a natural consequence of human evolution to go beyond human condition. So it is something that will become very real, and especially After people begin to have evidence of those who have already ascended, it will become something natural for them. It will become something practical for them. It will not be just some theoretical concept. And I think this is the most important thing to understand.
Yes, that is a very important thing. Thank you for sharing that. Is it still in the plan that only after the event that Islands of Light would be formed? And if so, how long after the event might this start?
Yes, this will start after the event, and I would say very soon after the event, the first one will begin to be formed.
Who are the people that will be able to form Islands of Light, and what would qualify someone to be able to go there? Is it based on a level of consciousness? Is it necessary to have met your soul family to go to one?
Most of Islands of Light will form a soul family, so people who belong to the same soul families will start forming Islands of Light. And all of those people will need to have a certain basic understanding of the functioning of the soul families and basic ability to go beyond conflicts and basic ability to maintain constant connection with the soul. So this will only be possible after the.
Okay, thank you. How will we know who members of our soul family are and how will we find them? Will this be a natural knowing or will we be helped by our guides? And will the light forces and the resistance movement give us instructions on where each member of our soul family is? Are some of them already meeting and will the opening of the portal help this?
Those who are awake enough will have inner knowing when they meet people from their soul family. It will be a natural knowing, and of course, they will have assistance from their guides. Also, the light forces and the resistance movement will give instructions whenever necessary. Some of those meetings are happening already. I would say a small percentage of them, and this will increase after the opening of the portal.
Very good, thank you. Does our off-planet soul family members know what goes on with us on a daily basis? Our actions, thoughts, feelings?
Especially your twin souls follow you on a daily basis. Other people from your soul family have a general understanding of your life condition and what's going on to a certain degree.
Okay. So what about twin souls or soulmates? Many are separated. So when will it be safe to meet each other and be together? And what is the percentage of soulmate twin souls combinations where one is on Earth and the other is off planet?
This will become safe only after the event, and I would say about 70% of them are separated. So one is here, and the other one is on other planet.
Well,
Speaking about twin souls now.
right. Okay. What about soulmates? I would assume that's a lower number, lower percentage.
Yeah, it is more of them are here.
Okay. And is it possible to, before the event, connect with a soulmate?
It is possible. It happens in some instances. It is possible, but it's not extremely frequent.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that. So speaking of soul families, is the Anatara star family, which includes the 144,000 beings of light who are on the planet at this time, are they one big soul family? What is the typical size of a soul family?
I would say this is one of the biggest soul families, and most of them are much smaller.
Okay. Can you approximately tell us what size is typical?
It can be a few thousand, a few hundreds. It varies. It's very, very, very.
Okay, thank you. What is the number of star seeds on the surface of the planet right now? And are the 144,000 different from the overall star seeds? And if so, how?
I would say the total number of star seeds on the surface of the planet is about between 5 and 10 million. It depends on, right now it's, I would say, around 7 or 8 million. And 144,000 are symbolic number for people of Anatara family, which are more directly aligned with the planetary mission, as we will discuss later with the Templars and with other forces of light.
Very good. Yes, we'll be speaking about that very, very shortly. So approximately how many of the star seeds are awakened? And of that, how many of the 144,000 are awakened?
A few percent of each.
A few percent?
A few percent.
Okay, thank you. In a May update, now let's speak about the positive Templars. You said that they are a physical manifestation of the Anatara star family. So to understand this correctly, the positive Templars are the Anatara, the 144,000. Yes?
More correctly, I would say that members of Anantara star family have kept incarnating in positions which allow them to join the physical positive Templars throughout incarnations.
I see. So are all positive Templars members of Anutara?
Not so, but many of them are.
Okay, thank you. You also said that after June, the positive Templars will be reactivated. And at your Phoenix workshop, you mentioned that the Anatara are being awakened. How is the progress going?
It is going slowly, but not as effectively as it was hoped.
Okay. Um, what might the progress look like if someone is experiencing this awakening? And if they are, what guidance would you like to share with them?
When they awake, they connect with their soul and they activate their mission. And for some of them, that mission might get them involved with the positive Templars. So I would just say if somebody is in the process of awakening, to follow their inner guidance, because their inner guidance will tell them what to do.
All right, thank you. You've advised us to connect with the essence of the Templar teachings, especially to focus on the teachings of Mary Magdalene. Can you elaborate on this and give us a true history lesson on who Mary Magdalene was, including her connection to the Templars?
She was priestess of the goddess. She was trained in the Isis temple, into the mysteries of Isis, and through her lineage, through her connection with the person that is now called Jesus, she has started a bloodline which carried the code of those goddess teachings. And Templars are just the vehicle to protect those mysteries. This is like I would say, the military force that protects the goddess. This is the simplest description.
Interesting. Thank you. I'm curious, is she incarnated on the planet currently?
It is not the highest purpose to answer this question.
Yes, I understand. In the book that you recommended, The Expected One, it discusses the marriage of Mary Magdalene and Jesus, and that the three petals of the fleur de lis represents their three children. Is this true, or are there other meanings of fleur de lis?
This is a very good description of fleur de lis. I would say a beautiful description, and it holds a lot of truth.
All right, thank you. So that book is written as historical fiction, yet much of it feels true. Can you tell us how much of the historical portion is true? For instance, are the contents of the books of Mary Magdalene that were found in the storyline accurate? And if so, how did the author know its contents? Were these books, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, ever actually found, or is this part of the fictional part of the story? And also, did Jesus also have a gospel that he wrote himself?
Okay, I would say this book is very much true. It was written as historical fiction because this was the only way to publish a book like this without creating a lot of opposition. So a lot of what is written in the book is true, and the author had contacts within the positive Templars and this was the way they released some information to the surface population. And yes, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene exists, and this is as much as I can say at this moment.
Okay, thank you. I understand. So, would you discuss the connection of the 144,000 to the Grail bloodlines that were created by the sacred union of King Solomon and Queen of Sheba, and then later continued through the sacred union of Jesus and Mary Magdalene? What made these unions so powerful that they created a holy bloodline?
Basically, the sacred union was a very specific ritual that invoked very high spiritual energies, and the child born through that union had certain very specific qualities. That sacred union, the ritual was done on a certain astrological date to create the maximum effect to bring that soul into the physical body. And through those connections, through those configurations, that bloodline was created, and through those and this teachings of the sacred union and creation of the sacred bloodline with all the astrological knowledge and everything else that is related to that was maintained through generations within the inner circle of people who were initiated into the goddess mysteries and were later guarded by the Templars.
Okay, thank you. And for clarity, are you saying that all members of the 144,000 are part of the Grail bloodline?
No, no.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. So, in your WLMM interview, you discussed the purpose of the Holy Grail bloodlines, that they maintain the highest possible frequency within the human DNA, and that human DNA can transmit information from the I am presence into the physical body, so that the most possible, positive, and most perfect archetype for the physical body can be manifested. Can you explain further what this means?
I have just described this a little bit. So the physical body needs to be born in a very specific time with the most favorable astrological configurations, which creates a resonance field within the physical body so it can transmit the highest possible energies. And then the soul, which is incarnated in that body, transmits those energy through training. And DNA created through that kind of sacred union is able to be as pure as possible and replicates as purely as possible to transmit those codes into the next generation.
Okay, thank you. Does the DNA of the 144,000 starseeds have a role in the event? And if so, are you able to discuss what that might be?
It has a role simply by trying to manifest the perfect archetype of the physical body. And all this will be greatly expanded after the event.
Okay, thank you. So, also in that interview, you discussed that the Templars were persecuted on Friday the 13th, and that now every Friday the 13th carries the energy of that dark timeline. So, are people born on a Friday the 13th affected by this? Could they be more easily influenced by dark energy? And if so, what advice would you have for them?
They are to a certain degree affected by this, but they can do a simple clearing ritual to cut the connection between them and this 13th, Friday the 13th timeline, and they will be okay.
And would you share what that clearing ritual is?
You can simply call upon the presence of Archangel Michael and ask him to sever your connection with the Friday the 13th timeline.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Is this something that we should all do on a Friday the 13th?
If you wish.
Okay, thank you. Um, so I'd like to move on and talk a little bit more about things as it relates to the goddess, the divine feminine, and Sisterhood of the Rose. In March 2025, you stated that there would be a special operation of Palladian and Syrian fleets and the physical and non-physical Templars to awaken the Mary Magdalene goddess mysteries, the Holy Grail bloodline, and teachings of sacred union. Can you share what that looks like and give us an update on the status of this operation?
I would say that certain motherships continue to send certain frequencies to the surface of your population to awaken those who were taking part in those mysteries in their past incarnations, for them to remember and reawaken and to connect again.
Okay. And I assume this will increase after the opening of the portal?
Yes.
Are there any books or authors' names that could help us awaken to these three things: the goddess mysteries, the Holy Grail bloodline, sacred union?
This author, Kathleen McGowan, which has written the book about which you have mentioned already, has written three books with the same theme. And all three books have a very strong, a very clear message about the goddess mysteries, about the Holy Grail, and the sacred union.
Okay, very good. Thank you. After the portal opens, will it be possible for Lightworkers to have more access to the mystery school teachings?
After the portal opens and after certain conditions are met, those mystery schools will begin to slowly manifest again on the physical plane.
Interesting. How would one access that?
Usually now people in the 21st century, they access through a website.
That is true. Yes, thank you. Can you tell us more about the healing power of women's breasts related to the goddess mysteries? What is the significance of bare breast women's representation in art, and how is art infused with goddess energy?
That healing power is basically a power of connection between the heart energy and sexual energy, and that combination can be very healing. And this is the reason why women's breasts have been represented so much in art, because subconsciously people know that this can be a healing connection.
So you're saying it represents a connection between the heart and the sexual center.
Yes.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And of course, over the years, this has gotten hidden and abused and distorted, I should say. So it's
Yes, we all know that. Basically, I am saying about the original purpose of the mystery schools and why they were triggering the manifestation of such art. And of course, later all this has been distorted a lot.
yes, yes. Well, hopefully the new Renaissance will change all of that. So thank you. For the female Templars in the positive Templar faction, how does their connection to goddess energy help with the Ascension Portal and Holy Grail activation?
This can help a lot because some of those Templars have a strong connection with the goddess, especially through Mary Magdalene mysteries, and that energy is very much needed before the portal activation, during the portal activation, and especially after the portal activation.
Okay, so how do you suggest one builds this energy?
People need to use their inner guidance. I cannot give one answer to everybody. It's a very individual process.
Okay, understood. So I'd like to ask, what is the connection between King Solomon and goddess Asherah? And what can you tell us about this goddess, who was considered the wife of God and the lost goddess because her story has been hidden? Is there a connection of the holy bloodline to her?
Goddess Asherah, she was one of the main goddesses when King Solomon was alive. At that time, she was the main goddess that he connected to, and there were temples of her mysteries, and of course, he was initiated. And she became the lost goddess because she was suppressed. Her connection, her her temples were destroyed like everywhere else. And through the archetype of King Solomon, the holy bloodline is connected with goddess Asherah.
Okay, thank you. Also curious, is she incarnated on the planet at this time or okay,
No, no, no. She is an ascetic being.
understood. How about any of her priestesses?
There are a few of her priestesses, but not that many.
Okay, thank you. Would you discuss the Knights Templars ties to the Sister of the Rose? And how do these ties help with planetary liberation? And also, what challenges do they face?
There is a connection. I would say that the inner core of the Templars is aware of the Sisterhood of the Rose, and there is a spiritual connection which is quite strong. And that connection can help a lot in the coming changes.
Okay, very good. Any challenges that they face and how to overcome?
There are always challenges before the darkness is defeated, and the challenges are, generally speaking, all the same, but individually speaking, there is a great variety, and people need to use their guidance to overcome those challenges.
All right, thank you. What is the current state of Sisterhood of the Rose groups? How well are the meditations currently helping the general frequency and energies on the surface of the planet?
Um, Many groups are dormant. Some of them are still active. It's not actually the best situation, but those who are active need to continue because they are key groups that anchor the light of the goddess and love of the goddess on the surface of the planet. And those energies are very much needed.
Yes, thank you. Are there any specific or additional meditations or activities recommended for Sisterhood of the Rose groups prior to the portal activation? And what about after? What will be the role and activities of the Sisterhood of the Rose? Will it be different, if anything?
This can stay the same after the portal opens. Of course, it will be easier for the Sisterhood of the Rose groups to function and to operate.
Okay, thank you. Anything that can be done prior to the activation to help it be stronger?
Just use your inner guidance. If you have guidance to do something, you can do.
Okay, thank you. Will the portal opening at Versailles send the energy strongly along the goddess equator? And also, if a person lives near it, would they feel the energy flowing along it? And if so, how close would they have to be?
Yes, that portal opening at the Versailles will send strong energies along the goddess equator. And if you live there, I would say within 100 or 200, I would say 100 miles within the exact line of the equator, you might feel that.
Interesting. We know that an activation of dragon ley lines and goddess ley lines have been ongoing. How is this happening and how is it connected to the rise of the divine masculine and the return of the goddess? And what can the divine feminine do to support this activation?
The activation of dragon ley lines means that the situation has been evolved enough for the divine masculine to be finally anchored on the surface of the planet. And the energy of divine masculine is the energy of action. It's the energy of physical intervention. And the role of divine feminine is just to create a healing support field for that activity, that action to happen.
All right, thank you. There's been a great increase in solar activity since the light forces reduced the activity of the multidimensional Dyson sphere around the sun in May of 2024. Will you give us an overview of the results of those energies reaching the surface of the planet? And does this include increasing divine masculine energy?
Okay, the solar activity since I would say the beginning of last year has been quite intense, and this has created a lot of anomaly. And this has basically opened the way for the activation of the dragon ley lines last year. And for this reason, the divine masculine is more present. And for this reason, I'm expecting to have a physical intervention soon.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that last part about physical intervention?
For this reason, I'm expecting the divine physical intervention quite soon.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Would you discuss the characteristics of the divine masculine and its importance at this time?
The divine masculine is the energy of the hero. It is the energy of a person who takes action in the face of injustice and begins to change things.
Powerful. You've said that the main key for planetary healing is women allowing themselves to feel and express their sexual energy. Would you please give us ideas on how we might do this, both for those with a partner and for those without one?
It doesn't matter if you have a partner or not. What is important is to give yourself permission to feel that energy and express it in any way it's safe for you. But the most important thing is your own inner permission for that.
Inner permission. Okay, that makes sense. Right. All right. Thank you for clarifying that. Is it possible to reach divine union with a person who is not a soulmate or twin soul?
It is possible, but not so easy as with a soulmate or even twin soul.
Understood. As divine masculine, as divine feminine and masculine beings, in what ways can we embody healthy sexual energy?
By connecting the heart with the sexual energy, by unifying those and expressing them in a safe way.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. And what about how to embody unconditional loving sexual energy? You've also mentioned this is important.
Here, I will just leave you with the key of meditating upon that word, unconditional loving sexual energy. And when there is enough awareness of this on the surface of the planet, there might be further instructions given.
Okay, thank you. Why is it important for us to begin healing our sexual wounds at this time? And how do you best suggest we do this?
It is important to be aware of those wounds and to be loving towards yourself and have patience with yourself.
Yes, understood. For those not yet experiencing Kundalini energy, how will the opening of the portal lead to the awakening of this energy? And for those who are experiencing a rise in the energy, how can they best integrate it?
It will become easier to activate the Kundalini energy. It will be a natural process. It is not advised to artificially try to trigger that energy because that might be dangerous. This energy is really strong. So it is best to leave this to be a natural process.
Understood. Okay. And so it happens when it happens. All right, for our last section, I'd like to speak about some healing topics. At the Paris workshop, you stated that many people have not let go of their trauma and belief systems, and that after the essential portal is opened, humans should take the initiative to use their free will to let go of their past and cut off the entanglement between themselves and the abnormal. Would you please give us advice on how best to do this?
It is simply to have a willingness to release the past, to release old grudges, resentments, old pain, to go beyond.
Okay, thank you. In that workshop, you also mentioned that starting on June 23rd, bubbles of paradise, which are energy fields of that are completely free of abnormalities and distortion suddenly began to appear in remote areas around the world. And you encourage people to go deep into nature where there are no other people within a 30-meter radius. Do these occur in all areas without people or just certain areas? And how would we know that we are experiencing this? Are they physical bubbles we could actually see or etheric ones we feel?
These do not occur in all areas. They occur spontaneously without knowing before. They are quite unexpected. And they are not physical bubbles. It is an energy field, which you can feel definitely as something really beautiful.
So you said spontaneously. So is this dependent on the person that is in that empty space? Is it on their consciousness? Does their consciousness create these bubbles?
These bubbles are created by the light forces, and this is a very complex equation. There are many factors which determine where and how and when those bubbles will appear.
Do these bubbles offer any healing, either physical or emotional?
Yes, absolutely.
Very good. You say that big cities do not have the conditions for the formation of these bubbles. But what if someone is in a city and they were able to find a nature area without people for 30 meters, like a deserted park? Would they potentially be able to experience a paradise bubble?
Theoretically, yes, but it's less likely.
Okay. Assuming these will potentially increase after the opening of the Ascension Portal?
Yes, that is expected.
Thank you. Also, in that workshop, you stated our shadows try to regularly provoke us, to press on our weak points, to destabilize us. You've spoken previously about the importance of light workers doing shadow work, yet it's been a stubborn thing for most to resolve. How will this process change after the portal opening with more of our free will intact? And what steps do you recommend for us to take after it to accelerate this process?
It will become much easier because the lurker will not interfere with the process all the time. So the key will be your free will. If you're willing to do it, you'll be able to do it.
Thank you. After the opening of the portal, will Techians more easily be able to float to Earth to help improve the planetary energy conditions?
To a certain small degree, yes, but there will still be the HARP technology, which has not been removed yet. And the HARP technology still influences the ionosphere, and ionosphere is the layer which absorbs the tachyons. So the general conditions will not be resolved up before the cabal is gone.
Interesting. Understood. Thank you. This question is about the importance of facing the truth, even when difficult or dark. People think it will lower their frequencies because a lot of the truth is disturbing, so they just stay loving but don't want to face the truth. My question is, as a light worker, how important is it to face the truth?
It is very important because by facing the truth, you actually raise your vibrational frequency. The truth is already there. If you deny it, you basically create a block, and that block lowers the vibrational frequency. The truth is already there. Even if you don't want to see it, it's there, present around you and also within your energy field. So by facing the truth, you integrate the truth and you actually raise the vibrational frequency.
Thank you for explaining that. That is very important to understand. So speaking of truth, when will disclosure start to ramp up? And how do we best deal with the negative emotions it may bring either within ourselves or others?
Disclosure will begin to ramp up when whistleblowers will have enough courage to start releasing information. And you might need to have some time to process whatever is being released. When you go through the process, it will not be that difficult. It will be something that can be challenging, but it will not be overly difficult.
Okay, thank you. In your recent WLMM interview, you said that after the portal opening, it will be much easier to practice the law of manifestation. By doing the three-step manifestation process, decision, invocation, and physical action that you often discuss, will it be easier in general for light workers on the surface to achieve material and spiritual abundance?
Yes, if you really keep practicing this three-step manifestation process.
Thank you. You also discuss considering the manifestation vortex as a light cone and consciously creating a light cone by doing the goddess vortex meditation. For clarity, is it a good idea to visualize our ideal future while doing the goddess vortex to help manifest it?
You can do that, yes.
Also, in that interview, you indicate that surface humanity can actively anchor the emerald light and can directly visualize the emerald light purifying all anomalies in Earth's energetic planes. So, how do we invoke the emerald flame from the source? In which direction would we visualize, clockwise or counterclockwise?
You can just visualize the emerald flame coming from the sky, going through you or whatever you wish to clear in counterclockwise direction, purifying everything and dissolving, purifying all the anomaly and dissolving.
What's the difference between the violet flame and the emerald flame? And when would we use each one?
The violet flame is I would say, the standard original procedure to clear the anomaly, to clear the darkness. The emerald flame has a higher frequency and is more specific and is more suitable for this time. It is a more precise tool, but both of them are very effective.
And the emerald flame is more specific for what?
It is more specific for removal of the anomaly and more specific to bring certain energies which are needed for the planetary liberation itself.
Thank you for clarifying that. You discuss anchoring the emerald light while visualizing the star code 111183 to help us remember our life missions more quickly. So many starseeds aren't aware of this code. What can you tell us about it?
I can tell you nothing about this code. If you know where to find information about this, you're welcome to study it. If you don't know, then it's not time for you yet.
Understood. Thank you. So you had also discussed organic pumpkin seed oil from Earth as having a value to extraterrestrial races due to its healing effects. Is it suggested that we also use this, and what benefit is it to humans?
Of course, it is beneficial for humans also. And the exact way for using this, you need to ask people who are experts in diet for the surface humanity.
Okay, for the oil. What about eating pumpkin seeds? Beneficial in the same way?
Can be, yes.
Okay, thank you. And they're very good for you too. So thank you. Are sacred plant medicines that are being used in ceremonies from the natives in America, such as ayahuasca, peyote, psilocybin, given to humanity from the extraterrestrial races to help humanity heal trauma and communicate with the higher consciousness? And how does participating in these ceremonies or using these medicines help with the energy around the planet and also with the healing of the individual?
This is a tricky situation because sacred plants can be very healing and beneficial if the ceremony is guided by a very skillful and experienced shaman. But a lot of this has been infiltrated by the dark forces. So use of sacred plants is only advisable for people who exactly know what they're doing or they have exact guidance what to do and how to do.
Okay.
And those plants were given to humanity by many extraterrestrial races. Some of it was done for good purposes, some of it was done for not so good purposes. So it's a mixed situation.
Thank you for explaining that. Can we expect Palladium protocols such as Command 1221 for support and Command 771 for emotional healing to become even more effective after the portal opening? And will the Atvor light pillar meditation be strengthened?
Yes, and yes for both questions.
All right. Is there a plan for a command or protocol for physical healing?
There is already a command for removal of physical pain, but for a complete physical healing, we will need physical healing devices such as med beds and other technologies.
Thank you for that clarity. Is there a chakra that light workers should prioritize in healing with highest importance? And will our chakras become easier to heal after the portal opening?
Again, this is a very individual situation because each individual human has individual circumstances. But basically speaking, the crown chakra is very important because people need connection with their higher self. Mm. And of course, this will be easier to heal after the portal open.
What are the three most important things to heal within ourselves to align with the new powerful coming energies?
The first one, of course, is the exercise of free will. The second one is connection with your higher self, with your soul. And the third one is forgiveness.
Thank you. How can we best prepare ourselves for the upcoming Ascension Portal Activation Between now and then, what is your guidance for Lightworkers?
The first thing is to understand the importance of this activation, and then do whatever you can in whichever way you feel guided to share this information with those who might be open to receive it. And together we can finally make a difference, make a change. We can participate in this huge energetic transition to the next level.
Yes, thank you. And I would also like to add that I think it's important for Lightworkers to continue to work on their own healing themselves and to resolve conflicts and stand together, that we really do have a responsibility to do our ongoing healing work so that we can better support each other and so that we can all better hold the light. So as we close this interview, I would like to remind everyone about the important global meditations that are coming up in August to support this once-in-a-lifetime Ascension Portal Activation. Those are scheduled for August 12th at 5:30 a.m. UTC, August 18th at 7:25 a.m. UTC, and August 21st at 9:02 a.m. UTC. We encourage people to check out Cobra's blog at 2012portal.blogspot.com, as well as the We Love Mass Meditation website at welovemassmeditation.com for more information and more updates on this very important event. I want to remind people that the more people that participate, the more powerful the results will be. We are definitely stronger together. It is our collective light that is needed at this pivotal time in the history of the planet and even the universe. And so, again, as we close this interview, Cobra, do you have any closing thoughts, things you'd like to say, any words of inspiration for us?
I would like to encourage everybody to participate, and I would especially like to encourage everybody to connect with their soul, with their higher self, and listen to their inner guidance. And of course, the victory of the light.
Thank you, Cobra. Thank you so much for this inspiration. I would also like to thank the beautiful souls who helped support this interview, and especially to you, Cobra, for joining this interview. We truly appreciate the information that you share and your continued strength to hold the light for humanity. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and victory of the light.
Victory of the light.